Hello, and welcome to another Precision Flyer Repairs video. This video is about a 360 Alco PA and 364 Alco PB by American Flyer that was sent to me from a customer. It was not running, and I was able to revive it. It did require a considerable amount of rebuilding. The axle bearings or bushings all needed to be replaced, the motors torn down, thoroughly cleaned, and the other worn parts replaced. The reverse unit overhauled and a pair of the fingers replaced, but it sprang to life quite well through all that effort, and I'm happy to report that it's running as it ought to again. The 364 really didn't have any issues itself. The wheels got cleaned and polished and the axles lubed. I don't know if they'd ever been lubed. There's considerable axle hole wear on those, but it's still functional. And the air chime whistle cylinder and button base were also sent to me with these two units, and the cylinder wasn't even passing voltage through it, so didn't give that much hope, but I was able to open it up, do a little work on it, and it's passing voltage fine and actually making the horn activate pretty reasonably. I wouldn't say the best I've ever heard, but pretty reasonably, certainly better than nothing as it was in the beginning. Now the 360 and the 364 comprised the American Flyer 365, as it was called. The 362 was the 360 with the 361. And they were tasked with a very tall order in life. They were sold with the aluminum 66X series aluminum cars from American Flyer, the heaviest passenger cars they ever produced. And the 360 was before Pullmore, so it doesn't have any traction tires on its power trucks, and it also was equipped with a smaller armature and field than its later production counterparts, the 470 and 490 and so forth. So it really started off behind the eight ball. The customer was complaining that it wasn't running well and couldn't pull anything. It certainly can pull now, but the challenge of those aluminum passenger cars still waits ahead of it. And I would strongly recommend you limit the number of those you expect this to pull, and make sure that their axle bearings in their side frames are oiled. It'll make a big difference on how freely they roll and how much less work it'll be for this 360, albeit dual motor, Alco PA. So I have a consist behind it. That's my transition car from link coupler to knuckle coupler. And then I have four of the satin silver, but these are plastic passenger cars. Now, in all fairness, the plastic passenger cars are what the 360 should have been sold with, but they didn't have plastic molding quite as well figured out yet for them. They had the aluminum extruding process better mastered, so that's what they sold with it. But in frank, it was a mismatch, and be careful how much you expect. But this one is ever more up to the challenge, and I thought I'd run it for you now. This 360 and 364, as all of them, are not connected by couplers. They're connected by a semi-permanent tow bar, which, while kind of a realistic rendering, I think my American Flyer soon realized that's very impractical for particularly children to be playing with, because I don't know how many drawbars got wrenched and broken, or how many of these units got one pulled expecting the other not to come with it, and of course they do. But anyway, here it is. I'm also going to fire the horn with the cylinder of this customer's. It's in my base, but here it is, over here. There it is, and it's armed and ready to be fired. You can see the duct tape around it because I had opened it up to go inside and do some work on it. Like I said, it activates the horn, it passes voltage. It's not the loudest activation that I've heard. My cylinder, knock on wood, does make horns sound louder than this one, but at least it activates it and passes voltage like it ought to. So here we go. the revived 365. You hear a little bit of that crackle. That's because they don't have pickup shoes. They rely entirely on wheel-on-rail contact. And the speaker makes that noise whenever there's a little spark. The wheels are clean, the tracks are clean. That's just the way it is. You can hear the horn. Like I said, it's not the loudest. But it's there and it's passing voltage the way it ought to. Okay, now let's take it up to trestles. Now this is a real challenge for a 360 with this much load, and I'm going to have to moderate the throttle while also trying to videotape. But you can see it makes it while also doing the switches. We'll take it through one more time. Give it a little more juice. It does it. It gets the job done. Got to back the throttle off or it'll be too fast coming down the hill. And there we go, around the lower loop again. Pretty as you please. Now that's running on the lower loop at about 13 volts. It can go faster. This on full power, let's give it a little shot. Can still get up and go and earn its name, American Flyer, as you can see. So I think on the level track, even with the aluminum cars, this will own up to the task put to it. Now, one other thing I have to admit about this engine is that I had to rubber band the link couplers between the coal car and the B unit together. Link couplers are part of our shared American heritage and affection for the brand, but I'm not a real big fan. The link couplers between the coal car and the B unit were a little bit problematic because such a short car between the longer bodied units, I think. But if you ever need to make your link couplers perform a little better than they might be wanting to, it's a good thing to just pass a short rubber band from the one side of one over, around, and under the weight of the other one. You can see here where the back truck of the B unit came off the rails when I did a sudden stop. That's not uncommon, particularly with a heavy car and engine and units, cars behind it. But a more gradual stop would have helped to avoid that. All right, well, anyway, thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And if you like the channel, please feel free to hit subscribe, the bell, and the word all. If you'd like more information about Precision Flyer Repairs, feel free to go to my website, www.precisionflyerrepairs.com, or drop me a line with that email address as shown. In the meantime, until next time, be well and have fun running your trades.